Well, good evening to you. I just did this live feed thing on Instagram and it was pretty fun. People got to watch and write questions and kind of interact a little bit. And it was so fun. I was like, that was so easy. I just hit record and started talking about some random stuff related to what I do up here on a daily basis. People enjoyed it. I was like, well, I'll just make a video and stick one up on YouTube. It's good. I've been procrastinating about doing that for, about 5 years. Anyway, I enjoy watching stuff that people put on YouTube about things. So today I'm going to pass on a little bit of mountain knowledge about woodworking, and specifically hafting an axe head to a handle. That's something everybody's got to know. And I just finished up making a really cool axe. This is basically a bearded axe, and it's got a tool steel body, and it has a hammer back on the stove's leaking a little smoke tonight. And it's all one piece, and then it's got a leaf spring, a truck leaf spring welded onto the front, and it's partly forge welded. I forge welded here, and then I also went back in with like a stick welder and welded into the edges right there and there. So it's got a forge weld and a stick weld and a stick weld. I think that'll be good enough. This is a real special axe made for somebody for Christmas. But we're going to put it on this handle. We wanted a little bit of a shorter handle than usual, and this is kind of how it's going to look when it's done. So basically a tomahawk-sized Viking bearded axe. And so there's a couple ways you can do that. One way, tomahawks are slightly tapered, so you actually put the handle in the smaller side, and it slides and slides and slides and slides until it can't slip off. And that's a really secure way to do it. But what that means is that the size of your handle is limited. And this is a pretty good size stick here. It's a handful, and that's what this fellow wanted, and that's what I'd recommend for this axe. So rather than going soft and small on the handle, by the way, this is a nice piece of hickory here. We use these for our bow staffs in our training school. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come off from the top, and we're just going to drop a wedge in there. But there's a little bit more to it than you might at first think. So I've got it set up so it's sanded, and this head can slide down to about right here. Actually, you can see the marks on it where it went to the last time. Let's see. It's already a really good fit. That's a good thing. You can see the marks on there. So we're going to slide down. We're going to pound it on just a little bit lower, and then we're going to put a wedge in. But the thing about the wedge, and this is what this video is all about, is about a 7-to-1 run to rise ratio. So I'm going to actually trim this piece of wood down. It's a real pretty piece of curly maple, actually, but I just have it left over from a knife project. You want to trim it down so that it increases in height 1 for every same distance of run 7 times. So it might be at 1 inch to 7 inches, or it could be it goes up 1 centimeter to 7 centimeters. But that precise angle, when you put it down inside of that handle and you hammer it down in there, not only will it expand and flare out the top of this head so that the axe won't come off, but it also provides superior grip, so that wood will actually bind in and bite and hold together. And if it's any more than that, it's a little too steep, and it can slip and pop out like a watermelon seed. And if it's less than that, it's not expanding quite right, and it just gets a little bit weird. The head might not be quite tight enough, and it's just the inside will actually get too much tension, but the top part will be a little bit loose, so it can wiggle around in there a little bit. It's just not right. But a 7-to-1 ratio in your wedges pounded down into there make for a really good, long-lasting axe mount onto whatever kind of wood that you want to. So, all right, Spencer Two Dogs signing out. Hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. I might get back into doing some more videos. I enjoy talking to everybody and taking notes and letters and stuff. And if you get a chance, holler at me on Facebook or whatever. See you later. Okay, so we've got a piece of wood. It's basically trimmed down to that 7-to-1 ratio. You can see there's a little bit of a wedge to it. Got the end sharp to put it down in there. The last thing is because you're going to be hammering on this back side to knock it back down in there, there's a real good chance your wood will split and smash out. So one cool little trick that you can do to make that less likely is to take a good sharp knife and do what's called a chamfer. And a chamfer is you just cut a little diagonal line down the side of that block of wood. So if you can see that right there, I don't know if you can see that, but just cutting a little diagonal line down. You do this on garden stakes, pins for building log cabins, all sorts of things. And that chamfer gives you the ability to hit that wedge hard and bang it into place. I'm going to use a rubber hammer and go slow, but still, it'll break a wood. And if you put a chamfer around it and angle all the edges in a little bit, like a little 45-degree angle all the way around, then that wood can take much more abuse before it splits and breaks open. So let's see if you can see that. What's the best way to line that up? There you go. I think you can see that all right. Okay, so now we're going to go mount this in the axe.